Good evening. I'm David Swotek, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. The NBA draft is going to be in full swing tonight and tomorrow, and Nebraska is putting in their star player to see if he can go into the big leagues. Nebraska guard Bryce Williams is hoping to hear his name and carry his talent to the next level. Nebraska men's basketball head coach Fred Hoiberg spoke to the media today about the possibilities for Williams' future.
I am proud of looking back over our track record at two programs at Iowa State and Nebraska. Hopefully Bryce will be the 13th player that plays in the NBA. I think that speaks for itself on development. We haven't had the McDonald's All-Americans or the five-star recruits that walk through the door as pros. The 13 guys, when you look at their names, those guys have all developed. And that's one thing that I think is important when you look at this is, this isn't Kansas, Kentucky, where those guys walk through the door as lottery picks. The development has been a big part of the success and the reason why a lot of our players have had opportunity, to play at the highest level. And guys that haven't played there have had very lucrative careers overseas. And you have to have a good staff in place that buys into that. That's one of the mission and one of the core values of our program is the development part of it.
The first round of the NBA draft will start tonight at 7 p.m. Central on ABC and ESPN, with the second round tomorrow at the same time and same channels. Nebraska volleyball will be sending some players to the Windy City for the Big Ten Media Days. Harper Murray, Rebecca Alec, and Danny Kelly will be heading to Chicago to talk to everyone at the special event on July 28th and 29th. And finally, some MLB scores tonight. The Pittsburgh Pirates head on over to Milwaukee to face off against the Brewers. The Brewers scored 4 in the bottom of the second, and that's all they needed. They got the victory 4-2. And then also the Boston Red Sox headed on over to L.A. to face off against the Angels. The Red Sox scored 2 in the top of the first, but it wasn't enough. The L.A. Angels got 5. They win at 5-2. And also in the bottom of the second, close match between the Rangers and the Orioles. But right now it's looking like the Texas is up 1-0. Timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Coming up next is the first hour of Sports Nightly, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Creighton's got it. Center dump. Kendra, wait, no. Nebraska bumps it again. Harper for the match. Off the ticket out. Call the grandkids. They did it. 15-10. Set 5. Nebraska keeps beating Creighton. 23-0 all time. That was a volleyball match.
Gets the snap. Back to throw. Steps, throws. Intercepted. Picked off Malcolm Hartzog at the Nebraska 43-yard line. It's his 4th career INT.
Horn has the sign. He comes set. And the 3-2 pitch. Popped up. Playable. Shallow left. Carey makes the call. Backing up. And he makes the catch on his 118th pitch. Ty Horn has 8 shutout here in the championship.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome in to another full 2 hours of Sports Nightly on this hot, humid summer evening. Wednesday night edition for you. I'm Jessica Coody with Nick Hanley. Nick, it is sticky out there. It is, I don't mind the heat, but when it is sticky heat, that's when I get a little cranky.
There was a lot of times, I think in the early spring, that you asked me if I was out golfing or if I had been golfing today. Would not be one of those days. It's a little gross outside. Yeah, it's a little damp, a little windy. It feels weird because, when you had some sunshine during the day, and I know there's some storms in the area, but you had some sunshine, and during the day, you think, okay, you got to be outside and enjoying this. No, I don't envy anybody who has to be outside, and it's not fun. But hey, it's June going into July here in Nebraska.
You know who likes to utilize when you can, without overdoing it, this type of weather is strength and conditioning coaches, right? To help build up that stamina and all of that, and the conditioning part of it. We're going to hear from Corey.
Is there some stairs going on? Do we have any stairs being climbed right now?
Well, I haven't seen any. I don't know. But I don't walk in the stadium all the time. So, but Corey Campbell is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. So we'll dive into this important time right now for Husker football and just a lot of different things to get into with Corey Campbell. So that conversation will be coming up here in just a few minutes. But speaking of walking by the stadium, Nick, I just walked by the stadium on my way to the studio here today. And I got to say, I love the red end zones. They pop. The gates were open today, and I kind of stood out there and looked at them. I'm like, I really, really like them. I think they're going to look really good on television. And one wise person told me people won't be complaining if the Huskers are getting into those end zone often.
Absolutely, right? And I think when Troy was talking to you about this not that long ago, we just don't seem to see Nebraska utilizing the red as much, especially with the facilities, and this is a way to combat that. I love it. This is going to sound bad, and no, hopefully Troy Dannon doesn't get on me about this either, but there was something about Wisconsin having those red end zones that I always thought was kind of a cool look. And I know it's sometimes from afar, the uniforms, if you're watching maybe at a sports bar and you're like, is that Nebraska or Wisconsin playing? You know, because the uniforms at one point kind of looked similar. And they were both Adidas schools at one point before Wisconsin turned the page on that. But I love that red. It pops. It just gives you a little bit of that modern feel to Memorial Stadium. And I think it's that subtlety of what we're going to continue to see, some of those changes being implemented and having somewhat of that slow drip of implementation of that modern qualities that you're going to see at a historic stadium and a historic venue. And I think this is one of those very subtle, yet I think important, and I'm with you, I think very awesome touch to just having a little bit more of a modern look and letting that red pop. Because think about this, those night games, especially when they're doing the light show, how that's going to look as well, adding more red to it, heck yeah. I'm with you. I love the change as soon as they had the first overhead shots of that end zone and putting that red there closer to the goal line area right on the boundaries. I think is a fantastic addition to the stadium.
It's just such a great red. There are not great shades of red, but it's a great shade of red. And
what, Jessica? What are you trying to say? Like who?
No comment. But listen, I think when people see it in person, they're going to like it even more. And I don't know. I know that some people were complaining about it, but I just thought to myself, walking today, when I stood and looked at it, I'm like, that looks really sharp. So
it pops.
I just had to say it. You know, I just had to tell you that tonight. So.
Well, I think you were gone when I was actually having my own little moment with it too. I think it was when you were on vacation. I was glowing about it as well. So we're on the same page with this thing. So I don't mind talking about it a second or third time because I think you're right. I think when everybody gets a chance to see that, especially when we have that night game, because the first home game is a night game, right? It's a 6 o'clock game, if memory serves.
I should probably learn the schedule, I guess, at some point.
I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, I think it's a 6 o'clock game. So we will see that evening effect that I think is going to be fantastic. And that to me is something that I think I don't even know. I didn't hear a lot of resistance when people were talking about it. As far as, this is just not the way that Memorial Stadium has looked in the past or is supposed to look. I really didn't hear a lot of negative comments on it. I think people, as a whole, are pretty happy with, again, red is the color, okay? It is red. Go Big Red, right? Well, let's put more onto the field and onto the stadium. And it is, by the way, it's a 6:30 kickoff with Akron. So.
Yeah, I just had pulled it up too. 6:30 and then 11 a.m. the next one. So you get a chance to see it out of the gate there at home at night. So, man, it feels so far away, but then yet it doesn't. But we're as we talk more and more football and we got the new play-by-play guy hired, and so, of course, we're talking more football, and it's like, gosh, can I get here soon enough, you know?
Well, you know how quick it's going to go. We're going to get through the 4th of July holiday, and then before you know it, it's Big Ten Media Days in Vegas, and away we go. So I feel like, I don't know how you felt, I think June had a little bit more of, it felt slow to me. And I feel like in years past, and this is where the College World Series has adjusted their format to where they would play the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday championship series. Now they bumped it up to where it's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday if necessary. But just moving it up a couple of days, usually the end of the College World Series always seemed to run right on top of turning the page to July. And before you knew it, you just got done with the College World Series, and now it was the holiday weekend. Now you have a little bit of gap in between the end of the College World Series and still the 4th of July weekend. I think July, though, once we get through the 4th of July, college football season and everything. We've got the magazines coming out right now. We've got all the lists, all the preseason projections are going to be coming out. We've already got some Vegas odds coming out. So I think once we get through the Independence Day weekend, I think July and that Big Ten Media Days is going to kickstart a lot of the college football fever around here.
Wait, June is almost over?
Yeah. Doesn't it?
No, I got a punchline to it.
Oh, no. Okay. Is this a dad joke?
I don't know, but so June is almost over?
Yeah.
July-in.
This is what you get in the summer, folks. Sorry.
That
was good. I like that.
I saw that today.
I actually like that. I'm a fan of a good dad joke. But did you ruin it for who's doing the joke this week? Is anybody doing the joke this week?
So tomorrow night we're going to do the joke, and Jake, it's his last night, his last day here at the Huskers Radio Network before he's going to take some time off, go back home, and then move to Alliance, Nebraska. So his going away present is doing the joke of the week.
Awesome. Well, I think you stole one right there. That would have been a good one for Schrantz. But, yeah, congrats to him, by the way. Excited for him and really getting his rolling up the old sleeves and getting the elbow grease in it. I'm excited for him.
We'll let him talk about what's next a little bit more. He has talked about it some already, but we'll let him do a actual sign-off tomorrow. But this is a sad time. I guess this is our first time that we're losing interns that I'm like, oh, wait, you can't leave. You can't leave. But
so how do you reward him? You make him do the joke. I see how you are.
Well, that's what he was like, oh, gee, thanks. But
right.
Yeah, no, he'll be delivering the joke of the week. But I don't know, I had to throw that in there. I just saw that. I thought it was kind of funny. The July.
It's good. I like that one. That is a good one.
Well, Corey Campbell coming up here just on the other side of this break. But you want to talk about someone that Coach Rule is a huge fan of, and that has been one of his mainstays and someone that's been important to what he's done here and has been a part of this transition from year 2 to year 3. And when these recruits are committing left and right to Nebraska, it's for a lot of reasons, but no question, part of that is what Corey Campbell and his staff is able to do with these guys to get them ready to play on Saturdays.
I think it's a great point, because I think when we get into this conversation about recruiting, especially this time of the year, I think we focus on, first and foremost, Matt Rule, but also the position coaches and the coordinators at large. And you start looking at a lot of the different coaches that have that track record of being solid recruiters on the road. But you're right. I mean, especially this month and the way that Nebraska's closing out June on such a high note, we talk about the importance of getting these individuals to campus, and we talk about all the reasons why that is important. And I don't think we do spend enough time on one of those big reasons why that is important, not only seeing the facilities in the weight room, but the guy that is in charge of all of that and that development that we spent so much time talking about yesterday, Jessica. That big cog when it comes to that development is the guy we're going to hear from next. And I think what Corey Campbell, that there's you can point to certain players and say, look at where they were and where they are now, but you can also now look at guys in the league that you can say, Corey Campbell worked with them at the pro level. Corey Campbell worked with them at the collegiate level. There is a vast knowledge and continuing to modernize that approach to keep up with the Joneses when it comes to the most important things in strength and conditioning in 2025 compared to even 2020. So there's so much importance, and I don't think it gets discussed enough with the role that he plays, not only with that current roster, but the guys that come in and they want to see it all come together with how am I going to get developed? How am I going to be an impact player? Well, there's one guy that is going to have the answer for you, and it just so happens that he's got that contagious, that personality, that infectious personality that I think connects to a lot of those guys as well.
All right, on that note, we're going to send it to our first break here on Sports Nightly. On the other side of this, the head strength and conditioning coach for Nebraska football, Corey Campbell, coming up next here on Sports Nightly. Hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee, where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee, dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing. You pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
Springfest deals are still in full swing at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. And get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $300 when you buy 2 or more select GE kitchen appliances of $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com. Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing. You pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Woodhouse Nissan makes shopping for your next vehicle simple. Right now, lease the 2025 Nissan Pathfinder for just $359 a month. Visit us in Bellevue or Omaha today, or online at woodhousenissan.com or woodhouseplacenissan.com. 39 months, 10,000 miles per year. First payment and $29.99 down plus $299 doc fee due at signing, based on sale price of $38,093. VIN number SC259187. Offer expires 7/7/25. See dealer for details.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody, and very excited to be joined by the head football strength and conditioning coach, Corey Campbell, in the middle of the heat of the summer. It's been busy time, so appreciate you spending some time with us.
Of course. Always good to sit with you, Jessica, and talk Husker football.
I know it's been just crazy for, it seems like, I don't know, do you have a downtime? Because it goes right from season to off season. You guys are recruiting, and then you go right into January workouts, and then you got spring football and recruiting, and now you're working out with the guys. Do you have a downtime?
Not really. But that's part of it. Our downtime is really when the guys are down. So when they get off, we get off. Now during recruiting season, obviously, we're in-house, hosting official visits, giving, our part to the program. But downtime, not so much, But, again, that's part of the job. I really enjoy it. It's as the amount of time that we spend around the guys and have the ability to impact them, I'm grateful for that time. So I don't really concern myself too much with being away from the guys.
How was the recruiting season? You guys just had a big weekend over the weekend. There's some viral photos going across social media, but just from the start of the camp season to now the dead period, how was the last month or 6 weeks for you guys?
It was great. A lot was going on in the month of June, like you said, from recruiting to camps to training our guys. But I think within that, a lot of great things got done. We got a lot of really good athletes on campus, allowed them to see what was out here in Lincoln, Nebraska. For a lot of them who have never been to this part of the country, they don't know what's out here. And then they get out here and they see the facilities, they meet the people, they meet the staff, they interact with the players. It does so much for them in their decision-making for the next 3, 4, 5 years of their careers. So the month of June was a great time for us with respect to our guys and their training. We made a ton of strides over the past 3 weeks, and now going into in the middle of this 4th week of summer training. I've been thoroughly impressed with the work that the guys put in, especially the way that they came back in June. We challenged them in May during their discretionary time to keep up with what they were doing, right? Interact with one another, communicate with one another, hold each other to a certain standard, because when we did come back, June 1, first day of training, June 2nd, we weren't taking any steps back. We were going to hit the ground, and we were going to hit the ground running. And they met that challenge. And, they came back in a good place. And the past 3.5 weeks of work that we put in, I'm proud of what they've done.
What are the reactions when you get to show people the weight room and just the facilities and what is in place here to help develop these future Huskers?
If I'm summing it up in one word, it's wow, right? We get, as I said, a ton of athletes who, they've been on a ton of visits to some really incredible programs, but they get here and it's, words out of their mouth and not mine, Nebraska has the best facilities in the country. We have speakers that come in that have worked in the NFL, that have worked with other collegiate programs, and they say the same thing, and I think that's a testament to our administration. That's a testament to, our community in understanding the importance of the quality of facilities that we do have to have at this place. And as a result, you get people in this building who, they want to be able to take advantage of resources that other institutions may not have. So we're really fortunate to be able to have these facilities, and our plan is to continue to improve on them and make the most of them with our student athletes and those that look to come here in the future.
I remember when I first had you in here, the new weight room wasn't open yet, and you're like, hey, we can work out anywhere and whatever equipment we can find a way to get stuff done. But what are some of the benefits that you found in training this team and with all the bells and whistles of this weight room now that you've been settled in for over a year now? What are some of the biggest benefits that you found out of this new weight room?
Right. On top of its sheer size, right, we have 32 racks in the weight room, and that gives us the ability to train a lot of guys. On Fridays, we do our team lift, right? And the energy is palpable when you have all of the guys in there. They do a great job of coaching one another. So aside from that, the ability to have different pieces of equipment, right? To train different guys, especially with their specific needs. Like, we have a ton of guys that have played a ton of football, and sometimes loading those guys, it isn't just weight on a barbell, right? It may be pneumatic resistance from a machine like the Kaiser, right? More selectorized machine equipments from, a single joint standpoint, right? Just the ability to use the technology that we have from the Vols suite of tech, the force plates, NORD boards, force frames, to elite format our racks, being able to track barbell velocity. So we have a ton of technology at our disposal. But again, and I do stand on, what I said before when, hey, if we got a barbell in place, we can't train these guys, because there's no substitute for work. There's no substitute for the ability and the mindset to strain through hard things. So as much as we're appreciative of the bells and whistles, and it does give us the ability to get very specific to what we program for specific athletes, at the end of the day, putting in work, picking up iron, giving blood, sweat, and tears, like that is what's going to continue to make Nebraska the program that it is.
I know that you guys have moved on, and even going back to the bowl game, it was, hey, this is the first game of 2025. But when you come off a win like that, and especially for this group of guys, when I was talking to guys throughout the spring, it seemed like a lot of momentum was carried over from being able to compete in a bowl game. You've been doing this a long time. What are some of the things that carry over when you win your last game into what you do in January, spring ball, and into this time now?
I think a big part of it is belief. Right, when you finish the season with the win, it ultimately, it gives you the belief that, hey, we can accomplish the goals that we set for ourselves. It also leaves a good taste going into the offseason, right? Like, coming out of a season on a loss, right, it doesn't really feel good. But when you come out of it with the win, especially a win in a bowl game, what that does for your athletes is it gives them the belief that they can achieve more than they did the season before, right? And so, where for a long time the goal here was to get